Hey y'all, it's a bit windy out here, so hopefully the noise isn't too bad. I just wanted to get started on what I'm calling my childhood reading challenge. I just want to pick up all the books that drew me in as a reader throughout my preschool to high school years. So it's not every year, but it's just like the ones that I distinctly remember like rereading over and over again and just loving to bits and pieces. And part of the reason I'm doing this is because I saw a YouTube video of someone else doing it, but they only did like their teen years, and I don't remember who it was. Yeah, I should look that up. But the other part is that I have two kids who I would like to also enjoy the books. But I want to make sure they're not weird or creepy or just didn't age well. So it's gonna be a bit of a challenge to not be overprotective of my kids and be like, there's a kissing scene, you can't read this. So it's gonna be a little tough. I'll probably introduce them a little bit later to most of the books. There's a couple books on here that you'll recognize that are obviously preschool aged. So let's get started. The first one is Winnie the Pooh, which everyone has heard of and everyone knows the stories, so we don't need to get into that. But I remember reading it to my cousin when we were, I don't know, I must have been in kindergarten and he was like a toddler, and it was just like these sweet moments of spending the night at his house and reading Winnie the Pooh to him. So yeah, I've been reading it to my kids, but I want to read it with adult eyes and not kid eyes. Second up, we have the Blue Fairy book. I remember checking this out in like first or second grade from the library. It was not such a beautiful edition, and I think the stories are actually kind of dark, so we'll see if I actually like this or not. I'll let you know once I read it again how it goes. And then after that is Unicorns of Balinor, which I don't have a copy of yet, but I ordered the first book of the series. It'll be coming in like 2 weeks, so this will take me a while to film. Yeah, I'm really excited to get back into that series, and I want to order the full set, but I want to make sure that I like it first because it's kind of pricey because it's out of print. Yeah, hopefully that goes well. Next up, I remember reading in, gosh, must have been second grade, Alana the First Adventure. So this is from the Song of the Lioness Quartet, which I bought the whole quartet, but I'm only going to be reading the first book for this video. Just because I don't have the time and energy to read the whole series. Maybe I do, they're pretty short, but this is one of the ones that I'm like concerned that there might have been like some pervy scenes in it, I think, but maybe I was just like really flustered as a child and thought that kissing was like really intense, so we'll see. And then after that is Sabriel by Garth Nix. I don't know if it's Sabriel or Sabriel. This is getting more into middle school, high school territory for me. It's about Sabriel, who is kind of like a reverse necromancer, and she like goes into the Old Kingdom and finds Mogget, who is like one of my favorite characters ever. Yeah, so that'll be a fun reread. It'll take me a little bit longer. And then we have the Agony and the Ecstasy by, I think, Irving Stone. This is a definite high school read, and I think I only actually finished the first 3/4 of the book, but it gave me this like obsession with Michelangelo that I like started reading other things about him and like getting obsessed with him. But I ended up in Italy to see his art as an adult, and it's just so beautiful, and I don't know. Hopefully I get all the way through it this time, but if not, I'll forgive myself. It's kind of a longer one, and I was mostly interested in his early life and don't know much about his later life. I think that's all of the books, so we can go ahead and get started on reading Winnie the Pooh, and then just see how that goes. So early check-in on Winnie the Pooh, just the first page. I totally forgot his name is Edward Bear and not Winnie the Pooh, but it is Winnie the Pooh, Winnie their Pooh. The narrator is like interrupted a lot by Winnie the Pooh and Christopher Robin, which is interesting. I like the way there's like a back and forth, but it's hard to read out loud, I think, to my kids. I mean, I struggle with it a little bit because there's like so many different voices happening, and like I forget whose head we're in. But yeah, I'll continue more of this later. But so far I'm treasuring Winnie the Pooh. So I've read one story in the Blue Fairy book, and these are all like every single one of these is a spot where it was like weirdly dark or questionable, and it's just like in the first story. I don't know why I thought this was so good as a kid. So I've been reading the Blue Fairy book. I've read 3 stories now. The tabs are all places in those 3 stories where something needlessly dark happens. Except for 2. I tabbed those because I thought it was really interesting that Aladdin actually took place in China in these stories. I mean, there's still like names like Aladdin and Fatima and the Sultan and Vizier. So I don't know where the China bit is coming from. This is apparently the British version of Grimm's fairy tales. Or not the version of, but the British response to Grimm's fairy tales. I also read Beauty and the Beast, which was not too dark, but it wasn't the version I remember either. Like, I feel like I can't remember reading any of this, even though I loved it as a child. And I just don't understand what's happening. Did I just like skip over all the dark bits as a kid? It's just, I don't know. I think I'd have to give it like 2.5 stars. I'm not going to finish reading the rest of the stories, but I am glad that I picked it up just to see, and I'm probably not going to encourage my kids to read it, but I won't stop them if they want to. I'll just keep this copy around and let them decide for themselves. Probably take all the tabs out for the kids. Anyway, on to the next book. Next up is Alana the First Adventure, and I'm really excited to get back into this. Wish me luck. So I finished Alana the First Adventure last night. It's not what I remember. I think I'm remembering like later on in the series what happens. There's like a little more romance and that sort of thing. This book does not have any romance because everyone believes she's a boy. There are some things I find questionable, like I know that her love interest later on is in this book and he's like 7 years older than her. She's like 10 and he's 17. So the age difference kind of icks me out a bit. But other than that, it's fine. I give it 3.5 stars. Again, I'm not gonna encourage my kids to read it, but I'm not gonna stop them either. We'll just have the Quartet around and see if they are into it. I might actually, in a future video, read more of the Quartet, just because I'm curious where it goes. That's my thoughts, unfortunately, on Alana the First Adventure. Hopefully we get better ratings for the next books. Liquid just came in the mail. I'm so excited, but I'm so nervous because Alana wasn't very good, and I want this to be good. I want to love this and cherish it and hold it in my heart forever. And if it's not good, I'm gonna be so sad. I should be able to finish this tonight, so hopefully by tomorrow I'll be able to update you guys. So I finished reading book 1 of The Unicorns of Balinor, and I don't feel like I can rate it with just one book because it feels just like the introduction, like the first few chapters of a real book. And I know really it is all one big book that happens to be split into 8 for children to digest easily. I didn't order the rest of them and now I want to, and it is different than I remember. I forgot that she was the princess. I thought she was just a normal human girl. So I can't really say much about the book without spoiling it because only like one thing happens in it. But again, it's for kids, so I don't know. I think I'm gonna order the rest of the books. I really enjoyed this one, and it just brought me back to playground days and like reading under the covers in the dark with a flashlight, and just all the good memories of childhood are stored in this series for me. So I'm going to order the rest of it. It's going to be expensive, but I think it'll be worth it, especially to share it with my kids. I'm going to stop there for this video and do a part 2 a little bit later on once I receive the other books. They're not meant to come for a few more weeks. I want to get this video out just in the meantime. I think the remaining books are Enchanted, Sabriel, and Agony and the Ecstasy. I should probably include Harry Potter in this list because I did read it and reread it, and it is a big part of my childhood. So maybe I'll do a reread of that. I have reread Harry Potter as an adult, but it was like 10 years ago, so maybe I'll feel different about it now. I do remember finding Harry a bit annoying. We'll see on a reread. And I think it's a good season to reread Harry Potter. And it's a good series to have at home for the kids. So that's all for this video. Leave a comment about your favorite books as a kid and help me remember more books that I read it's so hard looking back because it's been like 25 years since I read a lot of these books. And like and subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you in part 2.